Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Teamworks. Hopefully you enjoyed your spring break. We definitely enjoyed our spring break. We didn't get a break, but we definitely enjoyed our spring break. Maybe you saw some of our Facebook pictures. We had a little spirit week here in the office. But anyway, we're back to Teamworks, and you guys are getting ready to kick into a brand new phase. And this phase is called the Anger Management and Conflict Resolution phase. Again, the anger management and conflict resolution phase. Boy, I wish we had this kind of activity when I was growing up. Probably would have helped keep me out of a lot of fights. But anyway, so what are we trying to do in the anger management and conflict resolution phase? So something to keep in mind. Our kids right now are matriculating. They've either come from elementary school and gone into middle school, or they're going from one grade level to another. So our kids are matriculating. They're developing, as you know, those hormones are kicking in while they're in these middle school years. And so they really are beginning to navigate through more complicated situations. So really keep that in mind and why this is so important. With all those changes I just talked about, they're starting to navigate through definitely rougher waters, right? Things are becoming more complicated in their lives as they're trying to process things. So their hormones are kicking in, as I said. They have a difficulty in expressing themselves as a result of these hormones. They're painfully self-conscious. They personalize and internalize everything. They tend to only see things from their perspective and not others' perspectives, and so on and so on and so on. So just to give you some feedback on what's really going on and why this phase is so important. Hopefully, by the time we're done with this phase, we'll help to develop and improve their communication skills, their conflict resolution skills, and really help them to better navigate through relational kind of situations, whether it's with their parents, adults, school, or peers, right? Learn how to express themselves, resolve conflicts. So, you know, those benefits are, you know, what are those boundaries of behavior when resolving conflict, accepting criticism, and unfavorable decisions, so when people don't agree with them. So those are some benefits hopefully they'll get out of our phase here. Phrasing criticism in a more favorable way, so even if they're providing criticism, maybe they can do it in a nicer way. Building awareness and consideration of others, and kind of what I was talking about before, but building their empathy. And most importantly, hopefully we're giving them some skills so they learn how to better compromise. We've all heard that agree to disagree, but just an example. So we want them to better compromise. So what's our question of the day to get the ball rolling and get things going? Have you ever had a disagreement with a family member or friend that you weren't able to resolve, and why? All right? You ever had a disagreement with someone that you weren't able to resolve, and why? And boy, I got to tell you, I've had a couple of those, and I still have one. Mine really quickly is, you ever been in a relationship and always hung out with your friends? Then you get in a relationship and you're not able to be with your friends as much. Why is it that friends don't understand that you're in a relationship and that things are different? So that's a conflict that I have currently in my life that hasn't been resolved yet. I feel like I'm in the middle and torn between my relationship and my friendships. But anyway, working on it. Hopefully out of this phase I'll learn how to resolve that conflict. Our energizer, it's a perspectives energizer. As I said to you earlier, our kids tend to only see things from their own point of view, their own perspective. So we're going to challenge that in a fun kind of science kind of way. Alright, our energizer is called Do You See What I See? You're going to split your kids into pairs, alright? Split your kids into pairs. They have to do this activity quietly until you ask for their feedback, so keep that in mind. Put them in their pairs, tell them to sit silently. You're going to distribute student handout, and it's a handout where they're going to write what they see. Again, do you see what I see? But they're going to do that quietly. So in pairs, distribute the handout, and then you're going to distribute these optical illusions, and they're numbered. So you want to make sure you pass them out in sequential order. So let's say you have 3 or 4 pairs in your team. You'll pass out the first one, and once the first team of students, they'll give them a minute. They'll pass it to the next group. They'll pass it to the next group until it gets back to you. When everyone's looked at that photo or image, you'll pass the second one. As it rotates around, it gets back to you, and so on and so on and so on. So you'll make sure that you'll pass out all your images. There'll be 8 images in total. They're all optical illusions. So with that, they're all going to see something differently, right? So let's say I got this one, and this one says, how many legs does the elephant have? And just looking at it quickly, if you only gave me a minute, I'd probably say I see 6 legs. All right. So once you pass it all the photos, then you'll ask your students to share with their partner what they saw to see. Did they see the same thing, or did they see something differently? So I might be sitting with my partner. I say, oh well, I wrote down I saw 6 legs. My partner might say I saw 4 legs. So then we'll document that as well, like what was the difference, or was it similar in what they saw in the image. And then as a group out loud, then you'll ask everyone to share, and we'll see how many people saw the same thing or saw something different. And again, it's about a discussion about perspectives and how we all have different perspectives. It doesn't have to be right and it doesn't have to be wrong, but it's respecting those different perspectives. All right, so that's your Energizer. That's your perspectives activity. Do you see what I see? And have a discussion about different perspectives. All right, our main activity, problem solvers. Again, I wish I had this activity. This one's pretty simple to facilitate. You're going to get some construction paper poster board cut into 4 squares. You'll label them A, and you'll tape it on the wall. B, and you'll tape it on the wall. C, you'll tape it on the wall. And D. So they should go in order. A, B, C, or D. Again, taped on the wall in front of your students. Afterwards, the whole point of this activity is to see what kind of problem solver style each person on your team is. So you're going to read out loud some scenarios, which will have choices of A, B, C, or D. All right, so keep that in mind. There'll be choices of A, B, C, or D. That's why you're posting up these signs. Once you read that statement out loud, you'll give the answers, the 4 answers, and our students will have to choose which one best represents their answer. And then they'll come up and they'll sign under that letter. All right, so here's an example. You see a fight between 2 older guys when you were walking home from school. Again, you saw a fight with 2 older guys when you were walking home from school. What would you do? A, ask the people what's going on, why are they fighting, and try to understand the problem. B, walk away from the fight as quickly as possible so you don't get involved. C, run to see if someone you know that can help protect them. Or D, try to be calm, try to calm them down, and convince them to stop fighting. All right. So your students will come up one by one. If they agreed with A, they'll sign their name. B, they'll sign their name. C or D. All right, so they'll sign. I forgot to mention, we'll give you colored pencils. Make sure you give your students all the colored pencils so they can clearly see their color, because it's going to be important at the end. And then at the end, after you read all the statements out loud, and after everyone has signed under each one, they'll have different answers for every scenario. We're going to tally up. So if William, per se, let's say it was me, let's say I had 4 under A and only 2 under B and 1 in C and none in D, I'm probably more of an A person. All right, so you're going to tally up for each card and see what you have most of and take only the highest number. All right, so you'll take the most of wherever the names are. So you're going to tally that up. After you tally that up, there's a big reveal at the end, and you're going to have in your packet problem solver types. And it'll tell you what the mostly A's are, the mostly B's are, the mostly C's, and the mostly D's. Like, who are these people? What type of problem solvers are they? So let's say, for example, A's, if you have a lot of signatures, let's say me, William, I had my signature mostly on the A poster, it means I'm a pleaser. Pleasers are people who like it when everyone gets along, go out of their way to help others solve their problems. They are good at understanding other people's feelings, but sometimes can focus too much on emotion and not on the facts of a problem or an argument. All right, so again, tally up the biggest number, whatever letter that is. That's going to be their problem solver type, and then you can read out loud or pass this sheet out so they can read and learn what kind of problem solver there are. When you're all done with that, then you're going to move on. You're going to split your teams up. Now you're going to kind of reassign a little bit. Hopefully it'll come out evenly. If not, try to even out the room. But then you want to categorize. You want to put them in larger groups. So you'll put them in larger groups based on these answers here. If there's all the people who are A's will sit together, all the people who are B's all the C's, all the D's. Now, if they're not a good balance, just try to, push them into some of those categories. Try to round it up, as they say, to make it all work. Once you put them in those groups of pleasers or peacemakers or competitors or avoiders, whatever was their personality type was, then you're going to read out 2 scenarios out loud. And then you're going to ask them, it's a conflict. It is a challenging kind of conflict scenario. Then you're going to ask them while in those groups to come up with a resolution, like how would they resolve that problem. So here's one. Melissa's best friends with Myra. They do everything together. They've known each other since they were little kids. Myra's older brother's been getting in a lot of trouble lately. There's even rumors of him joining a gang. Melissa's parents got word that Myra's family is gang related. They want their daughter to stop hanging out with her. They told her if she still hangs out with this best friend of hers, that they're going to change their phone number and transfer her to another school. Even though her friend has nothing to do with her sibling being gang related, her family has a big issue with this, and they said they continue to hang out with her, that they're going to transfer her to another school. So what should this young person do? So just an example. And again, because they're different problem solvers, you've got those pleasers, those avoiders, those competitors, or those peacemakers are probably all going to answer that conflict a little bit differently. So challenge them. Ask questions with questions, get them to get thinking, get them to understand empathy and respecting differences and perspectives, and so on and so forth. So that's your anger management and conflict resolution phase. You're probably going to have a lot of great, healthy discussion. We've tried to really push the envelope a little bit so they really can talk and open up. Hopefully by this point they feel like it's safe and you can have a healthy discussion. And remember, they're now matriculating into those more complicated years. And as we get older, it gets more complicated. So if we can teach them some good life skills now, we can set them up for success later. Really develop some healthy social and life skills. All right? So enjoy yourself. Welcome back to Teamworks. It's Will signing out.